All right, guys, I believe we are live. Got everything checked here. Check. Am I coming through all right, Steve? I realized why the mic quality wasn't good the other day. My mic was, for some reason, front of it was facing this way. So now I've got it facing this way. So that's good. I got to get lights. Sounds and looks good. Okay, I think we're good enough for now. In a bit. Cool. Yeah, so I'm running a little behind today because I've been really sick all weekend. This, whatever this COVID thing is or whatever, I don't know. It's not, I don't have a fever or anything, but it's just taking longer to go away than I anticipated, which sucks, but that's fine. The show must go on. Sorry guys, just getting the chart set up here. Sec. All right. Yeah, I definitely need sun and surf from the Canary Islands, Steve. That's for sure. I do. I'm definitely in need of a vacation. It's just so hard, you know, when the child is going to the preschool and she's getting settled there now, and don't want to rip her off or rip her out of the school. And anyways, but I miss the sun a lot. Okay, so this will be fun. You probably saw the video, or maybe you didn't, but I was just kind of thinking about those numbers for the prop firms. I was like, this could be interesting. Now, there are still some caveats because trading your own account, you don't have to deal with, you know, any rules. You don't have trailing drawdown rules. You don't have withdrawal rules. None of this kind of crap, right? But I can see a potential benefit trading the whatever they call the funded futures accounts, especially Apex, and especially Apex 300,000, multiple of them. If it works, I'm going to do a test. So this is why I'm late this morning. Yeah, I think the prop firms are. I'm going to do a test because the key is to maintain the same psychology for me that I have when I'm trading my own account, which is, you know, very selective, you know, following the analysis, and then just I have to put on the trade on the prop firm without thinking about the fact that there's a trailing drawdown, because that is a pain in the ass when you want to run a trade and it's going like this, you know. So anyways, I'm going to test it out, and my thinking, we'll get to the 8 a.m. check here in a bit, because probably we're not going to put anything on for 8 a.m. We got to check the news. I want to see how the markets are interacting. I want to get the scoreboard up to date heading into this Monday. So we'll just kind of take our time here getting started. I want to talk about the prop firm first and how I'm going to handle that. So with the prop firm thing, the thing that I'm looking at is that basically what I'd like, if it works, I'm going to do a test here this week, or at least today, tomorrow. I got to see how it goes, right? I'm willing to sacrifice a few days of my own trading just to see how this goes. It's kind of an experiment. What would be really funny is we have our live trading sign that says, come on in, we'll help you pass your Apex. So that would be really funny if we just started failing them left and right. But we'll learn, right? I know I make money on my own. With Apex, can I make money? I assume so, even with the trailing draw. So that'll be fun. I mean, Steve, you're kicking butt, so that'll be cool. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm really interested in just, instead of trading Apex like a, you know, oh, you take that account and you trade it like you would a $50,000 account. No, you don't at all. Like, instead, I'm going to treat it, you know, on a trade by trade basis. So like if a 50,000 account costs, you know, $30 or $35 or whatever it is, like that's, you know, try and just use the account as risk on one trade, right? So that's what I'm going to try today. We're going to implement our game plan. I'm going to put on the same trades we always do, using Owings market analysis, using the scoreboard. As you know, those of you who've been here, we have a good hit rate. We manage our risk. We keep our draws low, right? So what I want to try and do today is each trade that I'm patiently waiting for and calling out for us, I'm going to go ahead, instead of putting it on my normal accounts, I'm going to put it on this Apex thing, and just, I got to figure out how much, you know, I'm obviously going to be putting on a lot more size than I do on a normal live account, right? Because this is very aggressive. I'm going to be risking essentially, well, I guess, what is it? 2,500, right, Steve? 2,500 per account. So I'm going to be risking the full 2,500 on each trade. So I'm basically just using one account per trade, and just, you know, it's like if I put on, the way I'm thinking about this, and Steve, you tell me if I'm making sense, right? if let's say on a normal trade, I go, you know, short silver or something, right? And I put on one contract, and I'm, you know, if that trade ends up not working, you know, I lose $400 or $500 or whatever the case may be, right? So what I'm thinking is that if I can use the prop firm account as a trade, so if this works with the 50K accounts, and I keep saying if, because I know my trading works, I know I'm profitable. The question is the trailing draw. That's sort of the, I got to see how that goes, right? So if it works, so let's say the experiment is successful, then what I think would be interesting is like, for me, you know, let's say instead of putting a 50K account on each trade, right? I would say to myself, okay, if I'm prepared to risk $500 on each one of my individual trades, right? And let's say on average, I take a couple trades a day, and if they both lost for $500-600 a day, you know, a bad day would be, you know, minus 12, minus $1,500 for me, right? Normally, okay. So if that's the case, then why wouldn't I just take, you know, if you can get an Apex 300K account for, you know, whatever it is, $130, and let's even say that they do a 70% sale because they do that more often, I think. That pushes that 300K account to 150, right? But you can still usually reset it for like 80 or even sometimes cheaper than 80, which is pretty freaking amazing when you're on. I've been thinking through this. When you're on the 300K account, it makes a big difference. On the 50K, it doesn't matter because the reset's still more expensive pretty much than the actual account, right? So what you just get a new account. But so with the 300K, so let's say that costs 150, right? But it costs 80 to reset, or even 40. 50K has 2,500 drawdown. Exactly. So think about this, Steve. This is what I'm thinking. If the and I can't help but laugh because this is hysterical, and I want to see how this is gonna go. If I'm glad I found this today because it's really helping me to get some energy for the stream. Okay, so 50% off resets most of the time, but you might as well start. Exactly. But that's the thing. If you have a 300K account, then the reset makes sense, right? So imagine you get a 300K account for, let's say they're doing a 70% off normally, right? Because that's kind of normal. And you, from what I've seen, right? So you get that account for 150, right? And your reset is what, just say 40 if you can get it half. But even say your reset's 80, right? Just normal reset price, right? I guess from their website. So if I'm prepared to take 2 trades a day normally on my live account and I risk 500 per trade, well then if I was to transfer that 500 per risk per trade over to Apex, I would say, okay, well, you know, if a 300K account is like 150, and basically 300K accounts would be 450, right? So I would be, and the drawdown on 300K accounts, I think is like $7,500, right? So I would take those, and this is why I got to figure out, like, this is why I got a lot to figure out, guys. So I'm not trading on the screen today, but I am trading a 50K thingy, and we're going to call out the trades. I'll tell you what I'm doing and all that. But I'm trying to figure out with Quant Tower for linking, and I even still want to put my own account, like, you know, behind there on much smaller size. So, you know, so I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. But my thinking is that if I was on my own account, if I was to like go short, you know, silver, let's say, and I put one contract on, because silver for me, you know, that's one contract. It's a big contract. I'm okay with just one contract silver, right? And my normal risk of, let's say, $500. But on Apex, if I'm going to take that $500 exact risk, and then I would have 300K accounts for that one trade, right? So that would give me $22,500 in draw. So I would risk $22,000 on each trade essentially. But then the question I have to figure out, and this is why I'm testing it today with 50K, is that in that example with 300,000 Apex accounts per trade, if my risk is 22,000 per trade, and my target on that account, right? Because my goal is to really pass those like on each trade or on 2 trades, basically, right? So let's just say on those 300K accounts, I would try and pass them in 2 trades, I guess, because you got to make 3 to 1 on whatever your risk is, right? So if I have $22,000 in risk across those 3 accounts, I would have to make a profit of basically $60,000, right? So if I was able to make a profit on $30,000 twice, which shouldn't be a problem if I'm risking $20,000, I'm taking the full risk on all 3 accounts each time. You know, then that would be pretty interesting, I think. So I have to think through how to do this. and look at the numbers. But the video I did and I put up on YouTube, I thought was really funny and interesting, because if that works, then yeah, obviously, you know, the prop model is way better if that works. So I'm going to test it with the 50Kers, see what happens. And if it looks like it's working the way I think it works in the spreadsheet, then, you know, we'll increase from 50, risking a 50K. Like today, I'm risking a 50K account per trade we call out in the stream, right? So then if that works for a couple days, then I'll risk, you know, a 300K account per trade or whatever. And I guess Apex only allows you to have 20 accounts, right? So the goal would be, and I got to figure out the optimal amount. Like, even though I would want to risk $500 per account, per trade on my own account, I'll have to figure out the optimal, like maybe I only risk one 300K Apex account per trade or something. I have to figure that out, even though that's a lot less risk, which is good for me, right? If I can take $150 risk on a trade with a 300K account and just make or break that account and then reset it for 80 bucks. If I lose on that account, boom, I just reset it for the next trade, right? So the goal would be with this is to get, yeah, exactly. So that would be to get 20 funded 300K accounts. So what is that, 6 million? I'm doing the math right. I guess it is, right? 6 million bucks, because you have, for every 3, you basically got 1 million. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I think it's 6 million bucks in funding, something like that. So then, yeah, I mean, that would be interesting and fun for the channel. So let's try and do that. Yeah, so 6 million in funding, guys. That's the goal. We're gonna go from 0 to 6 million in funding and see what happens. So I'm excited about that. Now all we have to do is continue to trade well. So with all that out of the way, if you got any questions, comments, but we'll start today risking one 50K account per trade. And I got a few of them. We'll see how it goes. And then once I figure out with Quant Tower and how to link all this stuff up and all that stuff, and I'm going to have personal, because I think I have to get the license for Quant Tower, because if I have the license, then I can actually put my own real accounts in there as well and set them up behind the prop accounts, but they still get the same trades. I got to figure out how to do all that stuff without showing like personal identity information and stuff. I'll figure it out, and we will be trading on the screen. But for today, we'll see what happens with, you know, on average, we take a couple of trades. So, I mean, we're either going to lose a couple of 50K accounts today, or we'll pass 1 or 2 of them, and then we'll move on to the next day and keep doing it. So that's cool. And again, that would be absolutely hysterical if our banner says, come pass your challenge, and then we're just in here fucking blowing up challenges left and right. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. All right, it's very dark today. I got to turn on a light here. I think that's a little better. All right, we'll go into some analysis. So, Steve, you like that? The 6 mil, does that sound good? I think it sounds good to me. I'm excited about it. Okay, so let's get into the analysis. Now, all that's out, because I guess, well, let's get into the analysis in a sec. I don't really care about the 8 a.m. check right now. The thing that's really interesting is if we can get that 6 million in funding and trade it live, you know, I guess that's 20 times, because, oh, here's the thing I forgot to say. The risk management I'm talking about is just to get up to those 20 300K accounts, right? But then if you've got 7,500 per account, right? So Steve, what's 20 times, you know, $7 grand right there, right? That's, is that $140,000? So that's nice. You can trade 140,000. That's how, then once I got funded with 6 mil, I wouldn't treat it as 6 mil. I would treat it as $140,000, because that's my risk, right? So, I think that's really interesting to look at it that way. And I think that's a good goal for the channel. So that'll be pretty funny. All right, so that's how we're gonna try and shake it. And if the trailing drawdown just totally ends up fucking me up and I messes how I'm thinking, then I'm just gonna go back to my own accounts. But just I looked at the numbers, I was like, I gotta try this. So why not? All right, let's get into the analysis. And Steve, when we have some downtime in the next hour, we'll get into your analysis. Really good analysis. I like what you wrote in there. Normally I'll respond. This weekend I've just been so tired, and then when I woke up this morning from being sick and tired, I was like, I got thinking about those challenges. I got kind of busy with that. But we'll go over your analysis. Let me just check the calendar real quick. So we've got some ECB person speaking at 8:10. Not Lagarde though, so that shouldn't matter. Really don't have any news today. That. All right, so for today, what do we expect? Well, guys, if we look at the, that's all the funding stuff. That's going to be a blast. And now let's just pass them and get to 6 million in funding, just to have a little fun. So looking at ES here, this is what I wanted to explain. In the members area, I talked about this. And basically, we're still bullish right now on ES. You've got a nice sustainable daily trend run here. You're pulling back. So ES is bullish today. It just absolutely is. There's no question about it. It doesn't mean that it can't shit the bed. It can. But until it does, it's bullish right now because we have some confirmation now on the weekly and the monthly. I still think we're going to run into a brick wall up here for sure, based on bonds and the dollar and everything else. But for now, for today, I'm going to be in favor of the long side for stocks unless I see something crazy happening, in stocks themselves, in the indices, or with bonds or the dollar. But today, to me, looks like risk on for the indices for now. That's how we're going to start the day. Remember, we always lay the foundation heading into the day. Risk on is what it looks like for right now. The NASDAQ did go for a congestion move to the downside on Friday, but this weekly, I think it's still, back to your analysis, Steve, I think it does want to push back up here at least to that yearly trend line again, up into all this stuff. Remember, I don't get too much into the actual OMA stuff later in the course, Steve, on the live stream, just because, obviously people are going to have to go and it's our edge, right? So I'm willing to give it away, but people got to pay for it and come and check it out. So what I'm talking about, Steve, but I won't always go into super detail. But yeah, I think your analysis more or less was correct. There's a lot of resistance up here. I wouldn't get too aggressive shorting too early because I think it's going to, based on ES, I think it's going to want to pop and, at least challenge these highs again. Is that going to happen today or tomorrow or at all? I don't know. But right now, I think there's a lot of support here in the 17,500. If we were to start leaking lower today, certainly 17.4 has a ton of support. So I'm kind of in favor of the long side just for right now because of what we're seeing on ES. And also, I just think we want to go a little higher before we roll over, right? So that's how I'm going to approach the NASDAQ today. I think overall, that short you're looking for makes sense. But this could, yeah, I think that yearly trend line I think is going to be setting up for some great shorting again because not many people are aware of the fact that that's there, and if it's going to get through there, I think it's going to have to work harder than just 2 attempts. So the next attempt at 17,776 should be good for us to short. Of course, we'll use the intraday charts to tell us, right? By the way, Steve, did you see that sort of highlight video I did with the music? I kind of cut stuff about I went back to that live video when we're talking about the NASDAQ 1776 trade, and I cut it. And I think it turned out to be a good short little video for people to see what we do here. All right, so that's the NASDAQ looking bullish. Let's look at the Dow. Remember, guys, this is a daily chart to the far right, weekly in the middle, monthly to the far left. Yeah, I think the Dow is going to squeeze today. It also looks like it wants to squeeze a little higher for today. Again, we're going to get more information when we see what bonds and the dollar and metals are doing. The Russell looks the weakest still, and you've got a lot of resistance now up into these highs here. So I think the Russell today, I wouldn't short the Russell just based on what I'm seeing on ES and NQ. But if it ends up being, if the indices end up falling unexpectedly, then fine. But until that happens, I think it's going to be risk on for the indices. Therefore, we want to play the strongest one, which is probably going to be ES looks the strongest right now. I think Dow could be strong. And then the last two would be NASDAQ and then the Russell, because those are more rate sensitive, right? So let's look at the 10-year. So Steve said, I didn't see it. I'll watch it later. Oh, yeah, cool. It's only like 2 minutes long. It's on the channel trailer now. I took Brittany away in her bikini and I put me talking about the NQ. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe Brittany should be there. We'll see. All right. So so I would say today for the 10-year, you do have a lot of support now in here. So it looks to me like today, the 10-year might want to just try and pop up above these highs here. Rates maybe come down temporarily. That kind of gives stocks the juice they need to keep pushing a little higher. That's kind of what we're looking at for right now. Bonds do look to be supporting risk on for today in the indices. Let's look at the 30-year and the ultra bond while I drink water. Yeah, I think we want to go back to last week's highs. You can see them on the chart right up here. I think we want to go back up here. I don't know today or tomorrow, but it looks to me like bonds want to go for a retest of those highs. I see a lot on the volume profile too, guys. I just don't have time to talk about that right now. We'll just use OMA. But it looks like even though bonds overall are weak and probably going to head down after this last little hurrah for stocks, bonds are just kind of rebounding right now. Rates coming down. Stocks are getting their last little hurrah. There's a little bit of risk on today. Great. Let's enjoy the party while it lasts. Let's go get to our 6 million in funding. That'll be cool. All right. So let's look at UB. So the hard part for me with trading these, especially when I start trading the, hopefully the experiment will work with the 50K accounts. But then if it works and I move out to the 300K accounts, I'm gonna have to think like, okay, I'm risking $20,000 on this trade, for whatever market. How many contracts do I need to put on? That's gonna be fun. But then once we get funded and trading only 140,000 real dollars compared to the 6 million in funding, then it's just pretty easy to calculate. But when you're putting on 20,000 fake dollars in risk per trade, and if I'm running 300K accounts on one trade, that's 40,000 in risk. I'm not used to taking that kind of risk on a trade, so I have to figure out how many contracts to put on, which would be funny. All right, UB, I do think it's going to push higher as well. We got a lot of support. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I got to think that down in here, 125.30, it's strong until it's not. It's support until it's not. So bonds look supported today, rates coming down, stocks looking, more or less bullish. So that's how we're going to start today. No news. Gold as well, we'll see what happens. I still think that the quarterly chart on gold looks very bearish. So regardless of where I think the monthly is going to, the monthly's very bearish. So the weekly, I think on gold, it's going to be similar to bonds. You're going to want to retest probably last week's high. But then once we get up to there, we'll have to see what's going on with stocks and rates and everything else. Okay, symbol needs to roll over. So that's gold. We're rolling over here. See. Gold, are we rolling over? Is it J or M for gold, Steve? J is April, right? So are we probably April, right? Not June. I think we're April for gold. Let me just click OK. I don't trade gold that often, but I think it's April. Should be April. I sound like Rain Man. Is it April? So that's kind of strange. Why? This changes the weekly dynamic a little bit, which is fascinating. Anyways, we'll work that out. Let me just switch this. I'll check bar chart here in a second as well. So that's that. Let me check bar chart. Doesn't look like we are yet, but Sierra chart seems to tell me that. Okay. Man, I can't wait to get back to the sun. Sweden just sucks. So dark, so gray all the time. Oh. Okay, let's look at metals here. Checking the. So yeah, we are in April. So make sure you roll over, Steve, to J. GCJ. We are. Now, I don't know why this is doing this like this on the weekly, but I guess that's just the way we have a gap, I guess, from, I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so that is correct. All right, good. Now let's look silver. We're still in March, so this shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, silver has a decently bullish pattern here. We're trending up on. See, you start putting together the pieces, right? Stocks look bullish today. They do. And look, you know, gold looks bullish, silver's trending, bonds look well supported, meaning rates want to come down. So this is how we're putting together the picture for the day. This is why we keep our risk relatively low. This is why I think it's going to be fun with these funding accounts, just to see what happens. The hardest part is going to be trade management, right? Like if, you know, on the 50K account, right, I'm going to risk 2,500 per trade, right? Because that's the whole amount. So then my question has to be like, let's say, you know, I'm going to go long ES and I'm kind of generally, I give myself, I don't know, 5 points ish. You know, I don't use stops, but you know what I mean, right? So I kind of know when the trade, when I don't like it, I cut it. And if I like it, it goes, right? So let's say with the average trade size on ES is, or my stop is 5 points, right? So it's $50 a point per contract, right? So that's $250 per risk, you know, risk per contract, kindness. Then I would give myself a little extra room, maybe 7 points, right? So let's say $350 per contract. Well, 3 contracts is, you know, 1,000, so 6 contracts. So I guess I'd have to put on like nine contracts of ES on that trade, right? That's where I got to kind of come up. I got to get used to the math. Because normally I wouldn't put on 9 contracts, obviously. Hey, I can be like all the other ballers on YouTube, like put on 40 wait till we it's gonna be so much fun when we have the 6 million in funding. Oh gosh. All right, so that'll be interesting and funny. Okay, so silver looks bullish. Yeah, well, that's what I'm gonna have to do today. So yeah, because you know how it is, right, Steve? So you see how you're trading your funded account, right? But you see how I'm structuring it a little different. I'm just treating, I'm not treating the funding account like, I'm not treating it like I have $25 or $2,500 of risk. I'm treating it as if that account cost me $30. That's my risk. So obviously, of course, I'm going to risk the whole fucking account on the one trade because I'm risking $30. I'm not risking $2,500. And I think that's actually how the challenge people get people to fail so much is, you know, if you treat it like a real account, I think you're more likely to fail. Whereas if you treat it the way I'm talking about, you're less likely to fail. I think that's really interesting. All right. So let's go ahead and look at copper here. Copper, we have, yeah, I mean, a little bit more mixed for copper here. I think the weekly, excuse me, the weekly on copper, you know, there should be a lot of resistance up at last week's high up here. I think copper is going to be choppy today. There are probably better markets. The platinum. So Steve had a question about platinum at 921, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to have to be a little careful on platinum here just because this weekly is trying to go for congestion entrance. I do think there's a lot of resistance here. I don't think you're wrong about that at all. But I don't know if I would short. For me, you know, platinum doesn't always go with risk on, risk off. But if stocks are going to try to push a little higher, and if bonds are going to try and push a little higher and drop rates, especially if the euro starts to gain a little against the dollar, then I certainly wouldn't be interested in shorting platinum. With that said, there is some resistance here for sure. I just, it's not a trade I would bet on right now. Okay, crude. So crude looks like, you know, the daily's trending up. So this would be great if the daily could just close the day down in here. And we haven't really pulled back yet. So I'm thinking we could set up a nice pullback for tomorrow on crude. So we'll keep an eye on that. But that weekly right there, you do have some resistance here now. So I wouldn't really, I'm not going to be super aggressive going long crude today. I think we missed those opportunities here. We were waiting. We just didn't get any pullbacks. It was kind of during, that's the thing too. You just never know when you're going to get those pullbacks, right? Like we just didn't get them during New York, but a lot of them happened in London. I don't trade London, so just the way it goes, right? But I think crude, you kind of got to be careful longing coming out of this. This could be a little exhaust. It could come back further than you think. But it is heating up in the Middle East, so we will keep an eye on that. I mean, they killed some soldiers this weekend, allegedly. I don't know if the news is true or not, but it doesn't really matter. That's what the narrative is. Let's look at natural gas. And I'm really tired today, guys, too. So we're just gonna keep fighting my hardest and do my best to just get through this COVID or whatever it is. Really tired. I start off the day a little better because I pound a ton of coffee, and then I just, around this time when we start streaming in Sweden, I go off the cliff due to my COVID. Really makes me tired. So here is nat gas. It's still a mess. I kind of want to stay away from nat gas right now. Let's look at the dollar. Here's Euro US. Kind of interesting. You have a potential strong dollar here. So if the dollar stays strong against the euro here, which on the weekly and the daily, and it kind of looks, dollar could stay strong. The euro could stay under pressure today. That's the case, but bonds are kind of pushing higher with lower rates. I think stocks could still push higher, but I think metals might be a bit more choppy because you have bonds and the dollar kind of in disagreement, right? So metals tend to be more dollar affected, but they're also rate affected. I think that silver has a nice clean pattern there. I think silver looks like a good long today, especially if the dollar stabilizes against the euro and bonds push up and rates fall and indices squeeze. I think silver could be good from the long side today. So I'm going to keep a very close eye on silver, especially if what you see on the screen right here, if the dollar can stabilize, if the euro can stabilize against the dollar here, and silver should be a good buy as it wants to try and squeeze a little higher. It looks like it's squeezing right now. So good for all the silver bugs. Let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin and Ethereum here, guys. The COVID makes me very tired and dehydrated. I'm still at 50%. That's what it feels like. But let's look at but that's no excuse not to make money, right? I'm here. Let's look at Bitcoin. By the way, I haven't tested myself for COVID. I'm just assuming it is because it feels exactly how I had it 3 years ago, and I got pink eye and all that stuff, and I'm tired. All right, here's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, I think if everything else, I still think Bitcoin is in trouble overall. Definitely. I think it's already, guys, we'll see what happens, but I think Bitcoin already put in the high for the year. I said it. Sorry, Bitcoin bros, don't get angry at me. I mean, we might go back up and test them, but I don't see us. I'm looking at the OMA yearly, quarterly charts. I'm not seeing it. A lot of it depends on the bond market. If the bond market continues to drop and rates continue to squeeze, the Bitcoin bros are in trouble because we put in the yearly highs. So just keep an eye on that. If you've got some Bitcoin, I'm not telling you what to do, but it looks like we're probably rolling over here. You can see the monthly chart on the far left. Looks like we're rolling over. So today, Bitcoin might be a little stable because stocks look like they want to squeeze a little higher and bonds are taking a break. Bonds are pushing a little higher. Rates are coming down. So today, Bitcoin, it's probably going to be supported. But over the course of the next couple months, as we head into this liquidity trap that we can see clearly forming on all. Do I know what the Fed's going to do? No, but I can see on the charts. You can see with the cross market correlations, you can see that there's something coming. So if that happens, Bitcoin's going to get smoked. And of course, they've got everybody out of position right now. All the retail people who loaded up on the back of the ETF approval. That was kind of one of those sell the news moments. Anyways, Bitcoin, I think for today, I'm not going to do anything with it, but we do have some good longs potentially today in the indices, especially ES. ES looks kind of more the better one today, better than the NASDAQ. But we'll see if the NASDAQ starts to really squeeze as bonds are pushing higher and rates are dropping. NASDAQ could be great for some longs today as well. So I think, the Dow looks pretty good. So today we're going to be looking at the ES, the NASDAQ, the Dow from the long side, unless things change. But this is our forecast going into the day. I'm just looking at the scoreboard. Bonds, Yeah, we can play bonds from the long side potentially, but if bonds are going to just kind of be well supported and push higher, you know, keeping rates subdued for today, I'd rather go long some of the indices. Definitely silver. If the indices are going to rally, I think silver looks pretty good from the long side. I think those are kind of my top picks right now for today. Indices long, silver long, you know, copper, platinum. They don't look bad, but I think silver is going to be better, but we'll see, right? You know, usually when we pick the asset we like for the day, that kind of ends up, you know, more often than not being a pretty good pick. So we'll just let the scoreboard tell us as the day evolves. Maybe it won't be risk on, right? Maybe something will happen, but we'll see that because we're here monitoring it. But to start the day, we got to use the information that's in front of us. And right now, you know, bullish indices, bullish silver, that's how we're going to play it. So let's go to the hourly chart. We got no news today. Let's go to the hourly here, the 4 hour. We've got our setup. And remember, this is our trek to 6 million in funding. It's going to be very exciting. I hope to be there by, I don't know, I got to calculate the days, but well, we'll see. We're doing our 50K test today. We're going to risk 50K Apex account on every single trade we take. See how that goes. I have no idea. Never traded with these crazy trailing draws, but it's going to be fun. And if it works, we're going straight to risking multiple 300K accounts per trade every single day. And that's going to be a lot of fun. I just got to figure out how many contracts to put on when I'm risking multiple 300K accounts per trade. Be like, all right, guys, we're going short silver. We're going to put on, you know, 87 contracts. That's going to be fun. So I look forward to that. Because on my own accounts, obviously, I only go in on one contract silver. That's a big contract, right? I mean, I'm living in the real world, but let's live in prop world for a while and have a little fun. Okay, so the 8 o'clock check. Again, we've got no news coming out at 8:30. Steve, if you could just verify that. My calendar doesn't show anything for today, really at all. Yeah, 87 contracts. I think it will be. It'll be so funny. All right, so there's no news coming out. Let's see what we got for 8. So here you guys can see this is ES. Here's the daily chart to the far left because we're on our intraday setup, right? We were just looking at our higher time period. We got the monthly, weekly, daily. Now we're looking at the daily to the far left. I know I'm pointing because I'm pointing at my screen, but on the screen you guys see it just looks like I'm pointing at nothing. But here, I'll draw it with the tools. Here's the daily, here's the 4 hour, here's the hourly, right? And this is how we make our decisions based on the higher time period analysis we just went over. So right now, I got to update all my higher time period VWAPs, but right now we've got the daily here. This is where I think you're going to see a lot of support today for ES. I mean, anything can happen, but based on the scoreboard, it doesn't look to me like ES is just going to shit the bed and flush down. We'll see. If it does, we'll take advantage of it. But right now, a lot of support here into the 49.05, 49.10 on the daily. So if that's the case, we want to look at the 4 hourly and say, well, where do we have a lot of support on the 4 hourly? Well, certainly the 4 hourly is in congestion. But what does that mean? Well, that means I'd be like, I'd be interested in the 4 hourly support zone down in here for ES, which is matching up with the daily support zone. What does that mean? Does that mean I would just buy ES up here as the hourly's in congestion? No, it means I wouldn't buy, which is why we have a decent hit rate on this channel and, manage our risk pretty well, knock on wood, knocking on the wood. So ES for 8 o'clock, are we going to do anything? No, it's not in our zone where we have the best odds for success. Because when I put on whatever our next trade is going to be, let's say it was ES, we already went over this on the 50K account that I'm risking 150K account per trade. On ES, I typically take about 5 to 7 points of risk. That means I'm going to have to, if I'm going to risk the full 2,500 on the 50K challenge, I'm going to have to put on, 9 contracts. Okay, that's great. Like the trade's either going to work and I'm going to pass the challenge in one trade, or it's going to lose and I'm going to fail the challenge in one trade. And then I'll go on to the next challenge account for the next trade. Just keep doing it like that. But with that said, I'm going to try and trade the challenges the same exact way I trade my own account, which is I know exactly where I want to put on my risk and take my shot, right? So for ES, it's down there in all those zones that I just laid out. And that's why I'm curious to trade the challenges this way, the way I trade my own account. Really, really fun. All right, so we're waiting on ES. Those of you who are looking to go long up here, I wouldn't. Just wait for the pullback. So here's NQ. And then you say, well, Andy, if it's going to pull back, why don't we go short? No. We want to trade in line with the higher time period charts. Right now, today, the higher time periods are bullish. Risk is generally on. Bonds are generally supported. Rates are coming off a little bit. We don't want to go short stocks, right? The indices here. Now, that mean we're going to miss some action? Yeah, but we're not adrenaline junkies. I'm going to be an adrenaline junkie soon when I have 6 million in funding. But until then, I'm not an adrenaline junkie. Guys, I'm just joking because I have COVID and I'm here live streaming, having fun, and got to keep myself entertained. All right, so NASDAQ, I think it's probably going to, I think we're probably going to test back down below the lows again. Just looking at everything here. That's, you know, when everybody else starts to go short, that's probably when I'll look to start going long the NASDAQ. Because it looks a little weaker than ES. I don't think ES is going to go below 49.05, 49.04. But the NASDAQ, I think we could have a little bit of a bigger drop just based on all the charts I'm looking at here. So we'll wait for that. I still am not going to go short the NASDAQ here. The Dow, I think, is equally strong like ES. The Dow looks pretty good. And I'll explain why in just a moment. But this particular pattern here on the daily chart for the Dow could potentially see us squeeze up here. Could see if bonds start to push higher today and rates really back off, the Dow could give us a nice little squeeze today. I still think overall we're rolling over on these indices. I'm not bullish at all when it comes to, like, you know, the 2-week, 3-week, 1-month picture. But for today, you know, we got to trade the market in front of us. And it looks like the Dow probably, you know, a lot of support. The first level of support for the Dow is going to be right here into about that 38,125 level. And so on the 4-hour, you know, that would put us kind of down in here. So what does that mean? You know, at the open for the indices, I'll be looking for an exhaust. You know, I'll be looking for one of those crazy opening imbalances that spikes to the downside. And that's where I'll be looking to get long on the open, you know, if we have our opening trade on the days when we have, you know, a lot of the pieces in place and we can see if we think risk is on or off. Those are the days to either short the indices at the open or long them if we think risk is on, right? So today, if the scoreboard stays the same right now, and the Houthis don't sink a U.S. destroyer in the next hour or so, I'm going to remain risk on and look to get long the indices at the open. And we'll, as always, we'll pick our good spots when that time comes. And the reason we can pick consistently, you know, pretty decent spots is because of all this prep work. This is the prep work that allows you to make the good decisions and pick the right spots and stay out of stepping in the excrement and taking crappy trades. We don't do. All right, let's go ahead and look at the Russell. You guys already know the Russell. It's the weaker one because it's the most rate sensitive. And see, guys, this is another thing too. The Russell, it's the broader economy, right? The 2,000 largest, small publicly traded stocks, right? And it's already leading us to the downside. It's already reacting to the fact that the Fed's probably going to stay higher for longer, right? We'll see if the Fed does that, but the Russell is definitely leading us to the downside for now. So therefore, I say that because if I'm bullish today, which I am ES and Dow for now, would I want to buy the Russell? No, because the Russell is the weakest out of the 4 right now. So now the Russell is one that I want to jump all over from the short side once we start to rock and roll to the short side when that comes. But that's not right now because the Russell will continue to lead us to the downside because all those companies in the Russell, you know, when they have to roll over those loans at 5.5% interest, you know, a lot of them are going to go bankrupt. So that's why the Russell is leading us lower. Because you guys got to realize too, the lag in the economy from these rate increases from the Fed, it doesn't even matter if the Fed starts to ease in March. I don't know if they will. They might not. I don't think they will in March. I think they're going to start in June. But we'll see. Even if they start lowering in March, it doesn't matter because the Fed controls the short end of the curve. They don't control the long end of the curve. I think I need to do a video on that for people to understand how that works. So that's really important. And then the lag effect as well is super important. You know, these rate hikes haven't even hit the economy yet in full force, right? So even if the Fed lowers to, you know, whatever, let's say they cut by 1/4 point, it doesn't matter because all the rate hikes they already did that are lagging are like a tidal wave that's just slowly coming toward land, which is the economy. So there's going to be a correction. Now, if there's not one, fine, I'll trade it. But obviously I have to have an idea about what I think is going to happen. And when I look at the, you know, the macro situation, that's what I see. And then most importantly, looking at the charts are confirming that. So that's very, very important. We got to figure out a way to cut these pieces out of the live stream for people who don't want to sit through a 3-hour video and just, you know, watch this stuff and get some information that will help them. So here's the 10-year Treasury note. What did we say? We said bullish today, right? That means rates backing off. Again, though, am I interested in longing bonds today? Not really. I think indices will be better, but if, you know, the 10-year we don't trade really very often unless there's like a major news announcement and I need a slightly thicker market, then I'll trade the 10-year. But with the ultra bonds, for example, which we'll look at here, and we use the 10-year as our canary in the coal mine, right? We want to use it to judge rates and how that impacts metals, the dollar, stocks, all these kind of things. So looking at the ultra bonds here, yeah, I mean, if the ultra bonds want to pull back into 125.30, high 125s down in here on the daily, not a bad spot. You can see on the 4-hourly, you know, look, so the 4-hourly, this is why it's so logical, trending up, right? So if we were to go for congestion down, I would expect a strong congestion floor. So I would expect the 4-hour to find support right out of that daily zone. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm just lining up all my spots, and if it goes there, it goes there. One of these markets is going to go to a spot, right? Which is why on average we take a couple trades a day. The rest of the time we hang out and, you know, talk about the analysis and the economy and plan our route to 6 million in funding with Apex, which is going to be really funny. All right, look at gold. You got to drink water for my COVID. Okay, so gold, guys. All right, I got to roll over. I rolled over. Guys, we're rolling over to April for gold. That's J. We're rolling out of February. Right now, the volume is split between half February, half April. But make sure you roll over to April. I love that about Sierra charts. They remind you, which is awesome. So here's the gold April contract. All right, so the gold April contract here, I think gold is going to be a little bearish, bullish today. Overall, the quarterly chart is insanely bearish for gold. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. But if we have a liquidity crisis, then obviously gold's going to shit the bed with everything else. And I do think that is what's coming. But until it comes, we got to trade day by day. So gold for today, you know, you've got a lot of support on the daily down into 2044-ish. Nice little pattern there on the 4-hourly. So the 4-hourly is trending up. You got some nice support coming in here already on the 4-hourly. So, you know, I'm open to, yeah, the gold 8 a.m. had a decent, I got to get here earlier, guys, because, well, not earlier. I just, you know, I'm tired with the COVID and stuff, but that was a decent little pullback right there on the 8 a.m. hourly close because you were into the 4-hour support and the daily zones. You know, could have been a good little buy there, but it's fine. I don't usually come in on Monday mornings, even though we make our checks off the hourly, and then, you know, we trade the news announcements on the half hourly if we've got something coming out at 8:30 or 9:45 or, you know, quarter hour, whatever. But generally speaking, we're always using the hourly chart as our anchor to make trading decisions. And on Monday mornings, see, I know this, I've talked about this before. In the past, a long time ago, what I would do is I'd be so excited that I'd come in on Monday morning and I'd be so excited that I just start taking stupid trades. So now on purpose, I just avoid, I kind of settle in on Monday nice and slow. And sometimes that means I miss some trades, but a lot better than losing money like an idiot because you're firing out of the gates because you're so excited because you just couldn't trade all weekend, which is what used to happen to me. So I say all that because gold here was a decent little long, I think, at the 8 a.m. hourly close into all that support right there. So Steve, we got Jolt's job openings at 10. Okay, good. I'm glad you found that. Tomorrow's the big day. All right, good. But Jolt's could move at 10. I didn't see that. So that's why we're, you know, help each other out here. Gold pushing higher. Not surprising. Interesting level for gold to be 2050. Not just because it's 2050, but we do have the volume weighted average price. The monthly VWAP from December is right at 2051. For those of you who are just kind of casually wondering where December's VWAP was for gold, there you have it. All right, let's go look at silver. So with silver, what we're seeing here is the daily chart definitely looking nice. Guys, it's really cool when I come here Monday morning, even though I'm super tired right now, so I don't have the same kind of energy I normally have. But like when I get into the flow of doing the analysis after I don't look at the charts on the weekend very much, unless I'm putting together the report for the members area, the weekly forecast, which I didn't even do this weekend. I did it today because I was too tired over the weekend. But I don't look at the charts too much over the weekend because I got to decompress. But then when I come back and start analyzing on Monday morning, I I love it. Like it gets me back into like, I realize how much I just love the chess match of it all. All right, so looking at silver here on the daily, you can see here trending up, pull back, pushing higher. I think we could squeeze today on silver. A lot of support. Yeah, that 2304.5 level that held price all week last week until Friday when it finally broke through. That resistance that got broken is now support. That's all coming in here on the daily. And so on the hourly, that would be, you know, down in here somewhere. So, you know, we'll look to be buyers of silver down in here potentially. So like if the hourly here into 9 a.m., let's say that this hourly close, right, was to come down here. Yeah, then I might be looking to get long some silver down in here, especially if bonds look supported, rates dropping, and especially if the euro kind of bounces a little against the dollar. That would give me more confidence in that silver long. So that's really important. All right, let's look at copper. Now, you know the COVID too, it like kind of makes all your joints sore. Get healthy and go back to the gym and do my ice showers and my saunas and get rid of this I mean, it's just incredible. But it's going around. A lot of people here in Sweden, especially, we haven't seen the sun in 4 months, no vitamin D in 4 months, even though the body stores it. But anyways, and a lot of people are getting just they're bedridden with like insane fevers. So at least I haven't been bedridden and I haven't had a fever. But other than that, I'm not feeling great. Looking at copper, I know I'm talking about being sick, but that's just because if people tune into the stream and I sound like a fucking retard, I want to let them know why. It's because I'm sick and I don't feel good. And I mean no offense to the handicap. I use the word retard kind of like an expletive, just like I would use the word fuck. I'm going to swear more because I am sick and I think it's more fun to swear. I think I get a pass today, Steve, if you're all right with that. All right, so let's look at copper here. Remember, copper, I think it's going to be a little bit choppy. We're already seeing that, so don't need to worry too much about copper today. There are better markets. But we'll keep an eye on it, but not for right now. Here's platinum. I think platinum's going to be kind of choppy like copper. Wouldn't really want a long or a short here. I would be careful platinum. Get crude. Yeah, you see guys, this is why just being patient and doing the analysis and waiting is so important, right? Because everybody came into Monday like, oh my God, crude is rallying. It's so exciting. And, you know, stuff's heating up in the Middle East. You know, everyone goes long, it pukes, right? So you got to pick your levels. And for me, the level for crude, I mean, today I would be very careful. I mean, generally speaking, I'm just going to kind of wait. If we get a pullback on crude, I think tomorrow might be the day to long crude. Now, does that mean I would go short crude up here? No, not if risk is on. Not if there's a war in the Middle East. Not if, you know, the bonds start pushing higher and rates dropping. I'm not going to go short crude either, even if I think it's dropping. I'm just looking for a good spot to potentially go long. I get a pass. Okay, thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. That was very nice of you. All right, so I can hardly breathe. I got to go take some of that nose spray stuff. So that pretty much sets the table. I think we've got the table set and we're looking good and ready for the day. And now we just wait for our trades like always. So I'm going to run upstairs and get some coffee before I literally fall asleep. Feels like I have narcolepsy with this COVID stuff. So I'm going to leave you guys for, I don't know, well, it's 8:34. We need to get ready for the hourly check at 9. So let's just take about a, 10-minute-ish break right now. I'll be back. And post questions in the chat, Steve, if you got any or anybody else. I'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. Yeah, I don't know why the chat is for subscribers only. I switched it so that everybody could comment, but I don't know. It keeps switching it back to only subscribers can comment in the chat. Look, if you're here, you might as well subscribe and comment in the chat. You know, like I can't. If it says you need to subscribe, just subscribe, and then you can comment. All right, let me just turn on this light here real quick. I'll try. I keep setting it back, but it just it keeps switching it back. Anyways, it's not really a big deal. I'm going to grow in subscribers as we get to 6 million in funding here. That's going to be, a lot of people will think that's fun, including me. Let me just put this light on. Man, I can't stand European plugs. American through and through. And have better plugs. I have these circular ones here. Sometimes they're like, nope, I don't want to go in that socket. It's so much easier with the thin prongs that we have. All right, I got some coffee. We're holding it together here with the lackluster energy being sick, but we're moving through. We're moving the ball down the field. That's all we can ask, right? Yeah, NASDAQ, it just looks like they want to squeeze. The NASDAQ wants to head back up there. We're looking at the NASDAQ here, you guys. It really looks like it wants to head back up to this high here, which is right at that yearly trend line that we absolutely nailed the other day. The highlight video is the current channel trailer for that exact trade that we nailed, and the reason we nailed it was because of this. Boom. Yearly NASDAQ chart, guys. This is the yearly chart. Let's go back, look. This is going back to 2015. Just, you know, trend. Boom. Explosion. Follow through. Oh, congestion entrance. A retest. I don't think so. Bang. That's what I'm looking for. Let's see. We never know. But this is the trend line here. Right at 1776. 17,776, the independence trend line that we called that short in the highlight video and nailed it and traded it and made money from it. And that was right here on the daily chart, right there. And so I do think those key levels kind of act like magnets. Price is probably going to want to get up there again. Are we going to get there today? I don't know, but I think the next couple of days, especially if bonds keep pushing higher, rates coming down, if the euro can stabilize its losses against the dollar, I think stocks will probably want to squeeze back up here. So my position on this right now is that I'm going to be bullish as long as the scoreboard remains this way, and as long as the NASDAQ continues to hold here. You can see the volume profile here on the NASDAQ, you guys. Look, see the volume profile outline over here to the right. Sorry, the left. Your other right called the left. Okay. So here you can see it's called self-deprecating humor. Here's the volume profile. See, that's that low volume. These are volume nodes, you know, sticking out here, higher volume nodes. And here, where the volume drops off, that's kind of framing the congestion zone. So that's kind of where I think if we go lower today, I think that would be a good spot to get long and reject price for a close back up here, and then a potential move tomorrow like this. Or we might just go up there today. We'll see. But one of the two is going to happen, I think. And I'm going to remain bullish as long as that area there continues to hold, which is right into 17,450. We can get the exact number. One sec. The volume really starts dropping off down here. 17,430. 17, you know, down in here. So that's the area I think is going to be strong if and when we get there. And especially if we fire down there on the NASDAQ, but bonds are pushing higher and rates are dropping, we could be in a good situation to get long the NASDAQ when everybody else is getting short later. All right, let's look at the hourly charts here for the 9 a.m. check, see if we have any trades. Let's start with ES. We know we're waiting to get long ES down into about the 03, 04 level. You can see here we've got our hourly chart to the right, the 4-hourly chart in the middle, and the daily chart taking its sweet time loading to the left. For God's sakes, daily chart, get your act together. Okay, so we already know that our area to get long ES today is down in here, right? Here's the 4-hourly chart. Down in here is where we're going to get long on the daily, 4-hourly. So we got to ask ourselves, we'll do hourlies here at 49.15. If we think the best odds for a long are down into the low 49s, do we get long here? No, we don't. So I'm going to wait. I know it's not very exciting, but I'm not going to get long ES right now because there might be a better market. Silver was potentially setting up a good long for the 9 o'clock hourly close. And look, this is another thing too. Might ES stabilize here and rip higher? Sure, anything can happen. It's just not where I'm going to get long. So that's ES, waiting to get long ES, picking our spot. Let's look at NQ, pretty much the same. Right now, guys, we're in a no man's land for stocks, for the indices, right? I'm looking to wait for the right levels. So right now, I do think the temporary energy is to the downside, especially for NQ here, because it feels to me like it wants to go back down to you know, these lows down here, at least before stabilizing and reversing. And at the open in 40 minutes, you know, if I see a good setup, then we'll take it. You know, we do capitalize on these from time to time. So I will risk one of those full 50,000 Apex accounts right there on the open if I see something good. Because we're going to risk the full Apex account on every single trade we take. One trade, one full Apex account risk, working our way up to risking hopefully multiple 300K accounts per trade we take. I could like blow through 5 300K accounts in a day. Right? But hopefully some of them are getting over the line. Let's see. All right. So there's ESNQ. We're waiting for 9 a.m. Dow's the same. Russell's the same. Don't need to waste time on those. Let's just quickly look at ultra bonds. I'm pretty sure nothing for yeah, we're waiting to get long the ultra bonds. I mean, there is some resistance here right now on the ultras. That's kind of a resistance pattern there, but I think the day is going to be risk on, which means rates are going to generally eke lower today, so bonds will push higher. So I want to wait for bonds to pull back. I don't want to short this, but this, look at the hourly here, guys. This is the hourly bonds that's setting up a potential drop, right, for bonds for the next hour, meaning rates up. That's what could cause, you know, be the catalyst to push NASDAQ down and the S&P potentially down to our support area. So for bonds, I don't want to transact here, but gold and silver, they were kind of interesting. So gold had a good support level. Yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about. Gold had a good support level there into 2028 at the 9 a.m. hourly close, right into all that 4-hour support. So that was a good one. I've already rolled over gold. I got to change the score, but let me just change this to April, guys. We're in April. Thought I did this. Boom. So we're in April for gold, guys. Just keep that in mind. Let's just fire this up here on the April gold. All right, there's April. That's J, the futures. We're coming from February, which is the G. So yeah, gold's bullish. Do I want to long or short that? No, but let's look at silver because silver was kind of lagging before. I want to see if silver's lagging. Yeah, silver, I would love, we have so much support, you guys, down into 23.08 and below. I would love to get the opportunity, especially if bonds stay relatively supported with rates down and the euro can claw back a little against the dollar. I'm really liking silver today down into this, you know, anything below 23.08, the exact number, the exact level here. Yeah, 23.08. And I mean, we do have the monthly volume point of control right now coming across right here on silver. So hopefully that monthly volume point of control will knock us down and set up a potential long for silver. Because on the challenge account, then I guess if I'm going to risk 2,500 per trade because it's a 50K right now, before I'm testing it before I get up to 300K, then I'd have to put on like, you know, if my average stop in silver is like 7-8 cents, right? So that's $400. Then if, on the challenge, if I'm risking the full thing, that's 2,500. So I'd have to put on like 5 silver contracts, which is kind of funny compared to normally on my live account. I only put on 1 because silver is a beast. You know? So silver, I'm waiting to get long, and you know we still have 8 minutes. So if silver was to drop now down into the support level, I'd be interested. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'll let you guys know. We do have monthly VWAP for this month right at 2304, which is why price couldn't get through that level all last week, which is why we were looking to short against it. But finally on Friday, we blasted through monthly VWAP. And now that level that got broken, it was resistance. It's now support. So unlike the weatherman, resistance, support. All right. I got to get, once we really get the channel growing, I'll put a studio in where like I have a green screen room and I can go around the charts and like, you know, the chart will be here. And instead of doing drawing tools, like I can start jumping and be like, look, see this here? That'll be pretty funny. All right. We got to have some fun, you guys. Okay. Let's look at copper, platinum. Nothing for 9 a.m. And again, this is how we do it, guys. The reason I have such a high hit rate, you know, God willing, that'll continue, is because I'm patient. I wait for stuff to look just right, right? And then, you know, that's why a lot of our, you see, we're one of the only YouTube channels where I'm posting every trade we take on the stream. Like I'm posting it. Steve's taking advantage of it. Go look back at the history of the videos. You don't see a lot of red days. And that's because, you know, we manage our risk well, right? Doesn't mean we're not going to have losing days or losing weeks. Of course, that's going to happen. But generally speaking, you know, this channel is all about risk management first and, you know, profit second, because I do believe that if you take care of the risk, the winning, the profits, they take care of themselves, right? So that's why I'm excited to do these Apex challenges. So for 9 a.m., we got 6 minutes left. We're waiting to see what silver's doing. That's kind of the, you know, the interesting one maybe for 9 a.m. Longing down into support. This is a euro futures, guys, against the dollar. And this is going to really set the tone for silver. So look at the daily chart here for the euro futures against the dollar. If right now the dollar is kind of strong, right? But if some support can come in here and cause the euro to claw some back against the dollar and push this chart back up here closer to the high 108, you know, the high 108s closer to 109 here on the futures contract, that would be the catalyst that could really cause silver to squeeze. And we obviously want to be long when that happens. So that's what I'm waiting for, you know, the storm, the perfect storm to set up between what we're always seeing on the dollar. What do bonds look like? What are rates doing? And then we jump into that market when all those factors are working for that market in that moment, because that's where you have the biggest edge. That's why when I get into trades, I expect them, I'm patiently waiting. So I expect that trade to move and move quickly in my direction when I get in, if I've read everything right. Now, do I read everything right every time? Of course not. But I know that when it starts to move quickly in my direction, I have read it right. Okay. Whereas if I get into a trade and I'm sitting there for 10 or 15 minutes and it's kind of lollygagging around, I usually just exit because it's telling me, hey, you know, this is not the one I want to bet on. That's another way that we manage risk effectively, by using the intermarket correlations and, of course, everything that we use here with OMA. That's what's really important. So let's look at silver. We got 4 minutes left. We'll drink some coffee. 4 minutes till the 9 a.m. check here. No big news today. We got stock market coming open at 9:30. I got to change the little banner on the top of the channel because we do put on trades at the open sometimes. So it's not just the hourly. Check back in for the half hourly as well. It's like right now, if there's no trade that I like at 9 a.m., no big deal. We wait till 9:30. Maybe there's a trade at the stock market open. If not, 10 o'clock. If not, 11 o'clock. Like, you wait, the trades come. All about quality, not quantity. So here's silver. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to at least bring up I will start trading on screen, but I need all these charts. So I got to figure out where to put all that, and quant tower, and I got to hide personal information because I'm going to try and link it up to trade my own account while I'm trading the Apex thing. So I got a ways to go on that. Right now, I'm trading the 50K Apex off screen. I'm telling you guys, you'll see like every day exactly what we do. So silver here, let me just get this. So silver, okay, good. Fresh 50K. We are looking for a move. I'm not going to buy it here. It would need to, you know, I would want it to try and push down here for right now, because the reason is that if this pushes down here, it's going to set up a potentially decent buy there right into support that I would be willing to take. But if it doesn't, you know, my risk is too high up here, right? So I don't want to go long here because then I don't know if I'm right until down here, right? So it needs to come down here. My risk is well defined. Otherwise, I just don't take it. I wait and it goes without me, it goes without me. But it's looking pretty bullish overall. You got to remember, we still have that monthly point of control at 2318-ish. So the real level, I mean, you've also got weekly VWAP at 2308 right now, but remember, it's only Monday, right? So weekly VWAP is early, but you got, you know, let me just check this. Last week's VWAP closed at also 2301. So that's your 2301, 2304. I don't think we're getting back below there today. So that's the level I want to lean against. You say, well, why don't we get long 2315? No, because I'm waiting for the right level. I do that with my own accounts anyways, but especially with Apex, you know, with that trailing draw, which is going to be interesting. You know, I've never really traded with it. So I'm going to be curious to see how it works with this trailing draw thing, right? Because that adds an element of, you know, it's not the way I trade my own account. I don't obviously worry about a position that's open and running and making money, right? But on Apex, you kind of have to worry about that because the trailing situation. But that's one more good reason to put on the trades at the right levels, right? So waiting for. All right, so it's 8:59 here. We've got 30 seconds until this closes. I'm not going to get long silver here. You know, we'll see. The point of control is right here. It might squeeze higher. It might push down. I'm hoping it comes back to support because, you know, right now it's a good 10 cents out from the area I'd want to get long. And on silver, you know, that's a big move, 10 cents. So I'd have to wait for it to come back to support. So we've got a very clear game plan for today. The stock market open is in 30 minutes. That'll be our next sort of, we're going to be preparing the analysis, waiting for the stock market open. I want to see if I'm going to go short or long, but I'm definitely interested in a trade at the open today because we do have, you know, a pretty good read on the overall sentiment. Some days you do, some days you don't. Today we do. Just going to be risk on. So that'll be interesting to see how the charts are lining up for a play at the open. Probably for the NASDAQ, just because that gives the best volatility. And I don't scalp, you know. I look for, like, I give you guys my level. We're looking to make, you know, 30, 40 points. We're not, you know, looking for 3 ticks, 4 ticks like some of these other channels. I'm not saying that's bad. It works for them. That's great. I'm saying for you guys, that's really hard to follow. With the latency on YouTube, there's a delay. And also, like, I can't, like, tell you what I'm doing. Whereas the way I do it, I tell you well in advance what we're doing, what we're looking for. And that's why you guys can pass some challenges by hanging out here as well. All right, so with silver here, just be careful. You got some resistance up here that I have a feeling could knock us back down here. And this is why you want to be patient. You never want to chase. I'm looking for silver to come back down into about this area here. One of my top picks for today. That's that. So that's the 9 a.m. check. Let's just quickly look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't believe we missed anything, but I'm going to get better about checking the crypto because it's something I want to get better at trading. Not better, I just don't follow it. I got to look at it more often. Here's Ethereum. This is kind of interesting. That's a pretty good little support situation there on Ethereum. Steve, can you check, am I allowed to trade Ethereum futures on Apex funding? I don't know if I am. Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure you can trade the micro contract, which is 1 Bitcoin, which is good. Ethereum here. You're probably not going to long Ethereum yet, but you have some support here. I'm going to wait. You've got a lot of Ethereum support, you guys, today at 22.35. If we were to flush down there, I might get long Ethereum later, maybe. If it's risk on, I would expect crypto to stabilize, and you know, Ethereum could be a good buy around 22.35. So put that in your pipe, smoke it, get ready to go. I don't smoke, I'm just kidding. I like that expression, makes me laugh, and I got to entertain myself while I'm here. And sometimes I do from time to time switch into a New York accent. I don't know why, probably because I think it's funny. I'm from California, and I don't even sound like that anymore because I've been living in Europe too long. I got a funny story for you guys about my accent. Let me just here. Let's see. So let's see. Yeah, Ethereum and Bitcoin. Okay, good. I'll check that out. So we're just waiting for the open. The funny story about my accent, I shit you guys not. I was at this bar in Sweden a long time ago when I was younger and I drank and I partied. Not lately. I'm married with kids. But this was probably got to be 10 years ago. I don't really know. Something like that. I'm in the main area in Gothenburg, which is like the second biggest city in Sweden. You know, Stockholm is the biggest, Gothenburg's the second, and they're both really beautiful cities, right? I'm on the main avenue at the bar with my friends, and it's like 3 in the morning. We're all drunk. We come out of the bar, and this guy heard me talking to my mom because, you know, the time change, right? So like California was 9 hours behind, and my mom had called me or something, you know, and I answered, I was like, oh, I'm partying. What's up? You know, so I'm talking English. So this drunk Swedish guy, when they drink, man, they get wasted. So he comes up to me, like literally on the street, and he grabs my phone, like I'm talking, right? And he just grabs my phone out of my hand, and I look at him. I'm like, dude, like, why'd you do that? He's like, he got all angry. He's like, where? He was wasted, right? He goes, why are you pretending to be from America? I was like, I'm not. I'm from America. Like, I'm talking to my mom right now. You just took my phone. This is an honest to God story. And the guy's like, I don't believe you. I was like, dude, say hi to her right now and ask her where she is. And he got really confused. So he put my phone. He goes, where are you? And my mom was like, California. And he gets me back to the phone. He gives me this confused look and he walks away. It's a true story. It was so funny. He thought I was pretending to be an American to, like, you know, pick up chicks or something. So funny. Oh, I think that's a great story, you guys. Don't know where that came from, but it was absolutely funny. Isn't that a funny story, Steve? The guy was totally upset at me. All right. Okay. Got Ethereum and Bitcoin. And you'll have to be aware of those. Okay, well, let's take a gander at stocks, prepare for the open, and look and see where we might want to be looking to take a play. Again, we're bullish. Overall stocks. You got a nice little support pattern here on ES for the hourly, because we're not doing anything now. The general area on ES, I'd like it to spike a little lower, right? So what I do at the open, let's say, I think the ES is going to be a better play at the open just because the NASDAQ, it has to go farther than I'm interested in. Like if you look at the NASDAQ right now, here, I'll just show it to you and then we'll circle back. We'll circle the wagons back to ES here in just a moment. So the NASDAQ here, right? My area where I'm really interested in getting long the NASDAQ is kind of down, way down here. Not that that can't happen at the open, right? It could, but ES is kind of closer. So if I go back to ES, where I'd be willing to maybe look for a long at the open, I'll have to figure out how many contracts on this 50K thing if I'm risking the whole account on that trade. Basically, if ES is kind of in this area here at the open, you know, I would definitely be interested in a potential long down around 49.10 to 49.08, right in there. I'm seeing a lot of stuff down in there. So 49.10, 49.08, and for ES, depending where it's trading in, you know, 15-20 minutes as we get closer to the open, it's not that hard for it to, you know, go down there and fill us and rip back to the upside. So I think the ES will be what I'll be watching. We'll be watching together at the open. I'll give you guys my level. I'll let you know how many contracts I'm putting on and if we're going to take the trade. So that's really important. So keep that ready for the open. ES 49.08, 49.09 long. Definitely got a good situation for risk on today. I don't think stocks are done with this push to the upside yet. Bonds are cooperating just quickly, you know, laying the foundation. The reason stocks are giving us a nice opportunity to play the long side right now. Not only the daily is trending up, we got a nice pullback pattern with OMA, but here's the 10-year treasury. I'm just recapping for those who missed this earlier. 10-year treasury here, nice pattern, stable. Looks like the 10-year wants to push higher, meaning rates are continuing to back off. Stock market is going to like that, especially if the euro here can claw back a little bit against the dollar. I'll bring that up right now. So here you can see this is the euro futures contract. So we are at Friday's lows, a lot of support. So if the euro can, you know, bounce here a little bit against the dollar, then with rates stabilizing, bonds pushing higher, that'll really, you know, give some juice to the stock market, right? Which is why I'm looking for the long side. Is it this clear every day? No. When it's clear, it's clear. When it's not, it's not. And when it's clear, I like to take trades. So today I'm interested and risking a full 50K account at the open if I get the right level to go long the ES, right? So trying to pick the spots carefully. So that's how I'm going to be looking at it. Especially if the dollar here can give back a little, right? If the euro can bounce a little here heading into the open in 20 minutes, that would even give us a lot more juice for that long but on ES. But you can see gold is liking this. Gold's already pushing higher. Really nice. Probably should have already passed a full account on longing this right here. That's right. I get off to a slow start Monday because I'm sick, and I also just ease in on Monday morning. So that's kind of what we're looking for heading into the open. Silver's 23.15. They just don't move the same way as the indices at the open. The indices move a lot better. And we'll see. What if ES starts going up now? Well, and I miss it. Like, I have to pick my level. I like to pick a level where there's like a line in the sand. I know, hey, this level has to hold. And you can see here when you follow this long enough, you know the games they like to play. So look at ES. This is the hourly chart to the far right, okay? Guys, I'm sick. I got COVID. I'm losing my voice a little bit, so bear with me here. I got to speak a little softer. Turn your volume up. This is the support level on the hourly. They love to drive it down through the lows at the open. So if you can pick the right side and set an order down there, when they are tagging stops to open up liquidity for themselves, we like to jump in with them. Who are they? They are people with lots of money and big pockets and access to market depth data we don't have, where they can see all the stops sitting. Isn't that a beautiful situation? But you just have to think how they think. I don't use that to influence my trading very often. I use OMA, I use intermarket correlations, but for the opening play, it's very important to understand how those things work. That's what we're waiting for at the open. Right now we're flat. No trades. Planning, waiting. Got a very good sense of what we expect for the day. Now we just go ahead. I want to set up here. Yes. Setting something up here, you guys. Preparing for the open. Okay. Basically, you got weekly VWAP from last week at 49, just above 4,900. That's where the VWAP closed for last week. I don't think we're. I know it's at, what is it? It's at 4904. That's important. I think. Let's see. So, that's 4906. There's a lot of support down on there. I mean, my number here, 4908, 4909. It's really, that's my zone I'm going to be really watching at the open, is 4908 to 4904. There's your 4-point range at the open. So think about that down here on ES. 4908 right there. 4904. This is where I will be looking most likely, and I will let you know as we get closer. This is where I will be looking to get long and risk a 50K account and just see what happens, because that's going to be my trade at the open today that I like. So how many contracts with that? Yes, that's tough with, see, that's another thing too with the open. It's volatile with their trailing drawdown stuff. Whatever, we'll put the trade on and we'll learn as we go. So if I'm going to risk, got to be comfortable risk. The open can be a little nutty. Say I got to give myself 7 points of risk on the ES probably. If I'm going to risk the whole account, that's fresh account, so that's $2,500, right? So 7 points is $350 per contract. Basically, 3 contracts, I'm risking $1,000. So basically 6 contracts plus another, like 7. I think 7 contracts is probably what I'll have to risk. Sounds pretty good. Steve, does that sound good to you? Guys, if you're wondering who Steve is, he's my accountant. He handles all my contract information. Just kidding. I met Steve here on YouTube like I meet a lot of you. He started taking OMA, the course, and he's fucking kicking ass, which is awesome. And I can't believe how fast he's like getting it. So he's always here making money with me every day. And when I have a question about a contract or something, I ask him to check it out because I'm kind of doing other stuff. All right, so that's what I will prepare for the open, which is coming up here, guys, in about 15 minutes. We'll get ready to rock and roll. So why don't we take a little bit of a break? For those of you who actually live in a place with halfway decent weather, go outside, get some sun, relax. Thank your lucky stars you're not in Sweden, where it's dark and shitty. But I will go up and say hi to my little girl that just got home from preschool and use the loo, as they say in the UK. I will be back in about 5 or 10 minutes, and we will get ready to attempt a long on ES at the open. It feels like a pretty safe, guys. Remember, educational purpose only. Feels like a safe long. I'm going to take. Probably get blown out of the water because it's our first full Apex account we're risking and all that good stuff. But what the hell, we're going to go for it. So I'll be right back. Am I limited to 4? No, they don't limit me to 4 contracts, do they? I thought it was. Check that. I thought you had lots of contracts on Apex. I'm just checking. I believe you, but I just can't believe it. I thought you were able to go more contracts. No, you can go 10. 10 contracts. Yeah, it's 10. You can go 10, so I'm good. I can go my 7 on ES. I was pretty sure. Because that would throw a fly in the ointment if I was only allowed to go 3 contracts. I gotta go. I gotta go 7 contracts, and you have up to room to go 10, which should be plenty for me on this 50K thing. When we get to the 3, how many do they let you go on the 300K? Because when I'm trading, let's say if this experiment with the 50Kers works and I up it to 300, if I'm risking a 300K account or 2 300K accounts on each trade, let's calculate, right? If I'm going, let's say if this works with the 50K, we're going to find out this week, right? We're just experimenting. We know OMA works. We make good calls. I make money in my live account, but I'm trying something interesting with the prop firms here, which I think is going to be a lot of fun as well. And especially doing it live, why not, right? So on 50K, if I'm going to risk 7 contracts, put on 7 contracts for this opening ES trade, right? And on 300K, well, yeah, you have basically 3 times the 75. Yeah. So on 300K, I would have to put 21 contracts on. Yeah, that would work because I think they allow you 30 or 35 contracts for the 300K. If I had 2 300K accounts that let's say I was willing, I just take my 300K accounts, and once I build up to this, I'm just going to like each trade, I say, okay, I'm going to risk 2 300K accounts on this trade, right? Then I have to put on, 21 contracts on this trade on 2 300K accounts, and then, they either lose or they win, but hopefully continuing to pick our spots right, they win and we can get 6 million in funding and trade it together. That'd be fun. So that's kind of the goal. All right, I'll be back in like 5 or 10 minutes, you guys. I just got to say hi to my little girl, got home from preschool, use the loo, and then we'll get settled for the open. Get ready. Alright guys, I'm back. Get the cam up here. One sec. Alright. Are getting ready to rock here for the open. It's gonna be exciting. Steve, you can hear me all right? Coming across. Yeah, it is 10 contracts. That's good. We'll see. It may not even get down there, but never know. It could. And I'll let you know where I'm going to set the order depending on where we're at. Just do a quick check here heading in. Everything looks good. You can hear me all right. All right, let's do a quick check, guys. Getting ready for the open. And what we can see, we're going to look to get long ES. We just want to look for a move down into anywhere from 4908, 4909 to 4904. So that's kind of like our 4-point range where I'm going to be looking to get long. I'll risk 7 contracts on the 50K Apex account, and let's just risk the whole account and see what happens. And just to do a quick check, heading into the open, make sure bonds look stable. We'll look at the 10-year. So the 10-year dropping a little bit. So here's what we talked about here at 9 a.m. Look at, see ultra bonds dropping a little bit. We kind of talked about that. That's good because I want to wait to get long ultra bonds later down here into like 25, 125.30. So that's good if they just keep dropping. And hopefully if bonds are dropping now into the open, that rates will be pushing higher into the open, which could cause stocks to temporarily try to snap a little lower, which is where I want to get long. So I hope they can snap down there, take out some stops, and fill us on the long side. It'd be really cool. Looking for gold still looks strong. That's a little bit off the highs, but that makes sense because bonds are pushing lower, so rates are increasing with the strong dollar. So you're going to see that a lot today, guys. When the bonds are taking a breather right now like they are, and rates are pushing back up temporarily, you do still have a strong dollar today, and it's getting a little stronger. So you're going to see metals react to that, right? Which is why when we talked about going long silver, I like the idea of long silver down into the low 23s, but that's why I didn't chase it up here on our last hourly check, right? So it makes sense. Just pick out your support level and just wait for it to come there. That's what makes the most sense. All right, so everything's looking, stocks look bullish into the open. You can definitely, this is the way I like to approach each trade, you guys. So for example, now I've planned out the trade. You see how much we plan it out. If I get filled and it loses, I'm 100% okay with that because it's a good trade. And all I can do, I can't control the outcome. All I can do is, control how much prep I do heading into the trade. And did I plan my trade and put on a good one, or was I an idiot and put on like a willy-nilly trade? I try to stay away from the willy-nilly trades. That's important. So we've picked our area, and if ES now starts squeezing higher, I'm going to have to raise my area where I want to get long. So right now, it would be 49, 49.10, 49.09. Looking here, 49.08. Yeah, right in there. I don't think we're gonna. We'll see. You never know what's gonna happen, but I'm hoping we get a little bit of a smackdown. We might not. Now, you guys who are super aggressive, great. You could chase, right? I'm not gonna chase, but it might just go straight up from here. Sometimes that happens. I miss the trade. That's okay because I have to plan the trade based on my risk parameters. I do with my own account, and especially with the Apex accounts, I'm trying to get in right at the spot to have the best chance with that trailing draw. So Let's see, we got about 2 minutes, 20 seconds. We can do a quick latency check. Let's do a latency check, Steve. I'll give you my time here so you guys know how far behind you are. So in 5 seconds from right now, it'll be 9:28, and I'll tell you. Now, that was 9:28. I'll tell you when it's 9:28 and 10 seconds. Now. Okay. So was that 9:28 for you, Steve? If that was, when you're saying now, if that's 9:28 for you, Steve, then you guys are at least a good 10 seconds lag. So be aware of that. Because if you're going to watch me manage the position, you got to know that you're 10 seconds behind. This is why we do the latency check to find out how far behind you guys are. So Steve, tell me on your clock when you hit 9:28. That was 9:28. Okay, I'll tell you what. We're coming up on 9:29. So when you see 9:29, just whatever, click a letter in the chat. So I'll see right when you click 9:29, and then I'll look at my clock and I'll give you the exact latency. So let me know when you get 9:29. Mine's 29 now. Okay, well, dude, that was only 2 or 3 seconds, guys. That was really close. Maybe the latency shifts around. I don't know. All right, but you guys seem to be pretty close on the latency. Go ahead and get ready for the open here. Again, we're looking for 49. I like 49.10, 49.9 a lot. Really do. I'm sending orders at 49.09. 7 contracts. I'm stopping it at 49.04. All right. So there's the open. We'll see. It probably won't get down there, but that's where my orders are because that's where I need to try and get in. See, it always gets really slow at the open. I really don't understand. Like Sierra gets slow at the open. Rhythmic gets slow at the open. I don't know. It's really strange. Lately, that's been happening. Orders are in. I got to get more screens. I thought 4 would have been enough, but now I got to figure it out. Can't see the chat right now. You guys are probably trades anyway. All right, so the orders are in. Hope you guys got that. My orders are in for now. Again, I'm looking to get long. 50K account, 7 contracts of 49.09 to stop at 49.04. So I'm risking 5 points, which is, I would love for it to smash down there and fill us. Great. For me, it'd be a great spot to take risk. Take some risk for the day. Now, this is the way I like to play it, guys. If it doesn't get down. It's not fun when you chase and you're in, and then it goes against you, and you don't need. So much better to plan your trade. Just got to be okay missing out on trades. All right, so silver's at 23.03, which is awesome. Dollar is pretty strong against the euro, 108.30. So that is something we'll keep an eye on. Hopefully that, strong dollar will weigh on stocks a little now and push us down to this level. This is like my opening range trade. When I see it, I take it. And, if I don't get filled here the next 5 minutes or something, I'll just pull that order and wait till the 10 o'clock check. The NASDAQ doing 540. Yeah. I could have checked the Dow as well, but I just like I like the way ES looks today. It looks the best for what I'm seeing. It may just squeeze. Again, I'm not in the business of chasing. You guys knock yourselves out. The dollar is at 108.29 now against the euro in the future, so dollar is getting a little stronger. Silver's 22.98, which is fascinating. I mean, look at silver. ES doesn't seem to be coming down. But here's silver. This is interesting. I mean, there should be a lot of support down here on silver. Now, I'm not just going to buy silver. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is kind of, it's through the level that I think should be strong. Sometimes they go through levels and come back up, but this is the level right here that I really would want to see hold and suck back up heading into the 10 a.m. close. So on the 10 a.m. close, if silver sucks back up here, you'll be setting up a potentially great long. And I wait, because I just wait for confirmation, right? Because if we just keep heading lower now, then I'm just not going to get long silver, right? Just let the market show you, you know, that you got confirmation at your level. Does that mean you'll miss some? Yes. Overall, it means you'll just put yourself in a better position. So ES is pushing higher. I don't see our order getting filled, guys, so I'm going to... If it gets back down there, we can revisit, but right now my orders are canceled for clarity. This is what I do. I set the order, gets in. If it gets filled, it gets filled. Sometimes I go up market. All right, so let's take a look at bonds here. We're going to do our 10 a.m. check here shortly as well. Yeah, so the whole, it's kind of, this is what it does. It's like the whole system, Sierra charts, everything, it just slows down at the open. And I don't know why it does that. It's strange. Not my computer. My computer's fine. The bonds are stabilizing. See, I'm looking at bonds because if bonds stabilize, silver is probably going to stabilize too. Right now, what's hurting silver is this dollar strength against the euro. You see how the dollar is heading, you know, even stronger now against the euro. So we're at a key level now here on the daily chart. You see it, guys? Right here. That's a key level. So if the euro can hold this level against the dollar, I guess is silver will suck back up and we'll maybe get a long later. If the euro cannot hold this level for the dollar, then, you know, this will be an interesting day because it's not going to be super risk on if the dollar is getting super strong against the euro. So this is how we use the basket of everything to find the best trades. When I say best, I mean, you know, not that we have any preference. It's just the trades that have the highest probability for success using OMA and the intermarket correlation. Bring up the chat. Is anyone else out there looking to trade the ES on the open? Probably not. I think people are shy, Steve. But that was nice. You tried to. Steve's reaching out, trying to be friendly. You know, people on YouTube are either shy or weird. There was this one guy. I've been following his journey. He's a struggling trader. He's an old guy too. I don't know how old he is, but like maybe 60 or something. And I reached out to him and I was honestly trying to help the guy from the bottom of my heart. I was like, you know what? If you want to, I'll give you a copy of my course. You know, by the way, the course, you know, I sell it for $1,500. I'm going to put the price up to probably 2,000 at some point soon because it's just each person that comes in, they've got to be, I want to work with each person individually. And I don't want people, you know, the more people pay for something, the more they tend to take it seriously. And all the other crap I see out there on YouTube, like the course, the indicators, the mentorship is an easy 2,000 and I'm putting too much work into it. So I got to charge something that makes it worth it for me too. But I say all that because I offered this guy a free copy of the course. I'm like, you know, you seem like a nice guy, so I'll help you here. If you want to take the course, I'll give it to you for free. And all I ask is that, you know, I want to see if you get it, if you understand the concepts. And at the end, do a review for your channel. I mean, he's got like 2,000 subscribers. He's not even a big channel. And he deleted my comment. I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, no. You're cool. Shy or weird. I'm gonna go with cool for you, Steve. That's like a special category. I think YouTube just makes people act weird because it's like it's online and yeah. Anyways, I was trying to be nice to this guy and just like, whatever. Interesting. All right, so let's, that's fine. He can continue to be a failing trader, and I wish him the best. Let's look at silver now, because the euro is trying to hold here. This is where you have all this support here. But again, I'm not doing anything right now. Like, this level has to hold on close on the hour. Right now, it's not holding. I think it will based on what bonds are doing, but the dollar is really weighing on silver right now. We need to wait and see, what this ends up doing. All right, let's look at ES. Kind of just pushing higher here. Not surprising, kind of what we thought. You see how if we always put ourselves on the right side of the market, Steve? This is why we have a good hit rate, because generally we're at least on the right side of the market. And if you're generally on the right side of the market, then that means you're not on the wrong side of the market. And that's a good thing. If we smash down here at that key level for ES, I'm still open to it. I have the orders canceled, but I'm still keeping an eye on it. I could go long if we spike down there. Keep an eye on that. Look at the ultra bonds again. I'm really tired today too, guys, with my COVID stuff. So hopefully we can get a good trade together. But again, I just take what the market gives me. If it doesn't do anything, then I got to go and get on with my day. I still trade, but then I post my trades in the members area for DYX trading. So you can only give so much value on YouTube for free. And the rest of the day, I got to do it over there. But for now, I'm still going to be on YouTube. Try and stay here as long as I can. It's not about the money. It's about the energy levels that it takes. So I'm not trying to twist your arm and take you over to DYX trading. I'm just saying, if you actually want to make money and get the calls I'm making after hours, that's where I put them, right? Because I can't sit here and talk all day, especially with COVID. So the ultra bonds here, they're kind of stable unless they're frozen. Steve, do you have 126.12 for the ultra bonds? Yeah, 126.13. So they're not frozen. They're fine. Gold's pretty well off the highs with silver, but there's a lot of support. It's going to be interesting. The dollar is really weighing on gold and silver right now. I got to sneeze. I'll mute. Of course, because I was talking, I couldn't even get the sneeze out, so I just blew my nose. But what I was saying is that it's going to be interesting because, I still got the 5-minute break thing up. Let me take that thing off. Or? Oh no, I did take it off. You guys, the recording, it records the stream, and that was behind. That's what I was saying. Yeah, I did take it off. Okay. Yeah, you got the same price for UB. Okay, thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. So right now, you guys keep these numbers in your head if you want to make money today. If I have to go because I'm sick and I don't feel good. 108.30 thereabouts. As long as the euro can stay above that level against the dollar, and bonds, ultra bond above 126-ish. That means that bonds supported, rates down, dollar doesn't get, we don't want the dollar to get too much stronger than it is right now. Then I think gold and silver should be well supported. We're just going to have to see. But silver's, kind of shit in the bed right now. So, and you see, guys, this is why we wait. This is why it's about the trades. It's not about the money you make. It's about the money you don't lose. That's why it's just so important. Let the market come to you. Don't force the issue. Let's look at copper. We haven't looked at copper in a while. So copper here, we said it was going to be choppy in copper today. And it is, because we're just stuck between some interesting levels. Platinum, Steve called it out, that 9. No, it did push higher. But see, platinum, guys, this is what I could like. See, this is why you got to keep an eye on all futures markets, because you never know what market's going to deliver you a gift Keep an eye on this right here, guys, for platinum. Steve, write this down if you don't mind, because I'll forget. This is where platinum might be setting up for a short. We have to wait. That's the 4-hourly chart. The hourly is currently coming out of an exhaust. The dollar does continue to get stronger against the euro. And for example, you see, this is how we use the markets to tip us off. Silver is breaking through a key support potentially. If the hourly holds under there on silver and gold keeps heading south as well, and the dollar keeps getting stronger, do you think platinum is going to sit up here and hang out? No. We're going to short and catch down. Really important. This is why you got to you can't take anything for granted. You got to follow all the markets as it's evolving during the day. So let's look at natural gas. So nat gas, I'm open to trading nat gas, but I got to see something really good. I don't see right now. Crude. The platinum we're going to look at for a short if gold and silver keep breaking their key levels and the dollar keeps getting stronger against the euro. So we'll keep our eye on platinum for the 10 a.m. close coming up. Here's crude. What did we say at the beginning of the day, guys? We said don't go long crude here. I hope that was good advice, especially for you, crude oil trader, if you're out there. I don't know if you're working, but I would wait. Crude could take a big shit today, just on some profit taking and some other things, especially if the dollar keeps getting strong. If crude cracks 76.50, we could see a pretty serious drop in crude. And if the hourly continues to trend down here on crude, then I could potentially be looking to short pullbacks on crude. But again, we'd have to get below 76.50 and stay below there. So that's just kind of a, we'll see what happens with crude. Let's look. The reason this is happening right now is because the dollar is getting into the 0820s on the euro futures. Let's look and see what Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing, because I did like Ethereum. I believe I said down into 2235-ish, but doesn't seem to be moving very much. Let's look at Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin, I'm not seeing anything I like other than the fact that I think called the yearly top on Bitcoin. You guys can go back. There's a video on the channel from like, I don't know, a month ago when I just started doing videos, where I did a video warning people about Bitcoin right up at that 48,000 level, 45,000. Everybody else was like, it's going to the moon. I was like, no, it's not. Of course, anything can happen, but I was just, anyways, it was a really interesting video. So we'll cycle through again, guys. 9:45. We got 15 minutes to make sure we're ready. With the lay of the land, we were ready to get long ES down into 49.09. We had an order there at the open. It didn't get there. Doesn't matter. It only matters that we pick good spots and plan our trades. So for the 10 o'clock, we're very bullish on the daily chart here for ES. So we just got to wait for a flush. So I'm hoping this 10 o'clock hourly bar I'm not going to short it, but I'm hoping this congestion range here will drive us back down to the 49.10 or below level and set up a long, for the 11 o'clock hours. This is how I constantly plan each trade each hour, because, that's just the way you make money. For those who are interested in making money. Not everybody likes to make money. I think it's fun. So NASDAQ, same thing with the ES. I'm not going to short here, even though I think there's a lot of resistance. And if the dollar keeps getting stronger, you guys better be careful being long stocks right now, because I think stocks are going to want to come back down to my support level and set up a nice long for us right when you guys are getting stopped out. So be careful about that. I'm talking to the people who are on the other streams. Here's the Dow. Look at the 10-year. All right. Let's look here. So with the 10-year, not seeing anything I like, but hopefully the ultra bond will cruise on down to like 126. Yeah, this is good with bonds dropping because if, see, this is the thing, guys. If the dollar's going to get stronger right now, and you know, I certainly don't want to go long gold and silver with a strong dollar, but if bonds are going to give us a potential buy signal into like 125.30 and we're seeing that stocks look pretty bullish, then that would be telling me that it could be a potentially decent spot to try and get long bonds. So I'm going to keep a very close eye on bonds here. We will watch bonds going down to our support level. So gold, you got some support here on gold. I like bonds better because of that strong dollar. I don't want to take long silver or gold. Silver's breaking its support right now anyways. Copper's being held up by the stock market, you can see. Platinum probably also will be a little held up by the stock market because it's more of an industrial metal. And I have no pattern here for platinum yet. I want to wait and see where this 4-hourly closes. I think I gotta sneeze. I think for, I never can sneeze because I'm like on air, you know? So I mute it and then I just blow my nose. I think for the 10 o'clock check, bonds are the ones I'm most interested in. So I'll have to figure out how many contracts we have to go. 50K, max it out. The stocks still look pretty, I mean, they look bearish for the 10 o'clock hour. So maybe bonds will go lower than we think, but I got to look at bonds all by themselves. Look at the ultra bond here. Yeah, I mean, certainly down in here, you got a lot of support into the high 125s. So it really just depends how low we go here on the hourly and where we close. If I'm going to set an order down in here somewhere, it would be something like this that we'd be looking for. This is called scenario analysis. So here, now the hourly closes down here, but then you think it's going to leak a little lower. I'd be looking for something like that. Potentially here. So if we close down in here, I'll just draw this for you. If we close down in here, and then we have these trend lines down in here, you know, that's what I'm looking at. So we still got about 10 minutes. The stocks are holding up now. So, and bonds, I mean, they might reverse for the day, but they still have a lot of support down here for now. Let's look at over again. If silver starts sucking back up, which is not yet, but if it does, you know, that will help to feel better about bonds. But I mean, it's pretty shocking, to be honest, that silver just smashed straight through that 23. That's telling us a lot. That it smashed straight back through that key level of 23. That is because of the strong dollar. Make sure we're not missing any. Platinum. I'm getting tired, as you guys can hear, with the COVID, so I'll just do the best I can. It's gonna be fucking nice when this thing is over. God, I'm so sick of it. Of course, I've been live streaming every day through the COVID, like a champ. That's why it's probably not over. This is ES, you guys. Very bullish. I got to think if ES is going to squeeze bonds, I think the bonds got to be, they've got to be a good buy down here. Here's the 10-year. Look at the 30-year. Here's the 30-year. You got a lot of support down here. Let's look at the ultras. Yeah, I mean, anywhere down into the high 125s for the ultra bonds, I think is pretty nice. See where we close. Dollars at 108.25. That's going to weigh on metals. And look, if the dollar just maintains the strength and gold and silver keep heading down, then platinum is going to be a great short for later. Right? Just trying to settle on what I like for 10 a.m. Oh, we got the Jolts job opening at 10, Steve, right? I believe we do. So we'll get some volatility. Right now, I'm liking bonds into that support level based on what I'm seeing on stocks. Like the right entry level. I guess on the ultra bond is usually I'd have to give it 10 ticks. I think a room, $300 per contract. I'm risking the whole account, and that would probably similar to 7. I guess I'd go 7 ultra bond contracts. Now that I'll do on my own account sometimes, but that's just because bonds are, when I really read the bonds, they can be very stable, and the margins are, well, the margins are about the same because the ultra bond is kind of wild, but the intraday margin anyways. But bonds overall, like I feel more comfortable going size on my own account, compared to the indices or silver or something like that. 10 o'clock. Okay, we got Jolts. 10. Kind of struggling to hang in there, guys. Yeah. Waiting on platinum. Checking silver. Want to make sure. I mean, the Jolts is going to change a lot as well, right at the check. You can already see ES getting a little jumpy. You can see ultras are up off. I mean, ultras have a lot of support down here. Just kind of this whole area. They sometimes want to fish a little lower. I would like, if we were to close here on the ultras, I think I could potentially set an order down here. Get the ultra. The ultra's ready. I would go 7 contracts on the ultra for the 50K. I think all other things being equal, the ultra bonds are what I potentially like. For it's weird, like I've had this COVID thing now, whatever it is. Now it's like throat thingies, annoying as. So interesting. Ultras are UB and high. Yeah, definitely. I think UB and high 125. The question is, are we going to get down there? I don't know. But yeah, Steve, ultras at 125 are good. Here's the 30-year. I mean, if the silver is still not bad, if it can suck back up, and bonds can suck up. We'll see with the Jolts. I think that's going to move the market, so we got to be ready. especially if the euro can get back above, kind of stabilize here. This is the key level here, the euro US. All right, let's look at that. Yeah, it's really bonds. Look at gold. Gold's got a lot of support here as well, but I don't. The gold, I think, is going to just be super choppy. I don't like, if you're going to be risk on, I don't really like. I think there's better markets to buy, especially we don't want to buy gold or silver against a strong dollar right now, especially when silver and gold right now are both breaking key support levels. Copper, as I said, choppy because you're getting those cross flows between equities holding copper up and bonds in the dollar, putting pressure. We don't want to do anything on copper. Let's look at platinum. Now, platinum is also an industrial metal like copper, so it's gotta wait. I think ultra bonds, and the question is, like, I don't really I mean, the ultras, they could just pick up support here and head higher, but because there is a lot of support here on the 4 hourly for sure, but I can't buy the ultras here because we're not close enough to my daily zone. We're in no man's land on the daily here for the ultra bond. The better spot is down closer to 126. So not looking like there will. We've got the table set now for the rest of the day, guys. So now all you have to do, even if I have to leave because I don't feel good, all you have to do is wait. And I'll tell you, if I take a trade on that the 50,000 account, I'll post it in the members area and I'll upload it to YouTube and show you guys what happens. Because we're going to do this every day together now. But now I'm going to just be waiting. Here's 10 a.m. So you've got a little bit of a short pattern here on ES, guys. So be careful being long here. I'm not going to short it because the daily's strong and I want to be coherence between the two. We got the 4 hourly close there too. Okay. Gotta remember when these 4 hours are closing. Let's look at the NASDAQ 4 hourly. We'll cycle through here. I think stocks are probably going to head down now. I just think they need to. It's still not something I want to short right here, because I think they're going to be strong to end the day. I think that's where the bigger move will come. But bonds again. Bonds. So there's, yeah, you've got, I want the support down there for bonds. I'm just looking at the 4 hour here. Be patient. Let the market come to us. Let's look at gold. See what patience gets us, you guys. So gold, you've got a pretty nice support. You got a lot of support down here on gold. It's really interesting. I just don't like where it's at in relation to everything else. But you guys do have a lot of support here on gold right now. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to do anything because there are better trades. Especially with silver breaking that support level. But they might just be choppy and rifle back up right now. We'll just have to see. I'm going to stay away from them. So that's the 10 a.m. check, you guys. I'm just waiting, and I'm going to go because I'm really not feeling great today with the COVID. It just won't leave me alone for now. I'm going to go upstairs and rest and take some vitamin C and stuff. But we're going to do the challenge this whole week. And I'm just, like I said, I'm going to risk 50. I'm still trading my same trading plan, being very careful, being very patient. When I see a trade that I like that I would normally take on my live account, I'm going to risk a full 50K Apex account on every single one of my trades. And if the experiment is successful, you know, the only thing I'm curious about is how the draw will work, that trailing draw. But if it's successful, then we're going to move just quickly to start risking 300K per trade. So we'll risk a couple 300K accounts per day at least, and try to get to 6 million in funding very quickly, right? So that's kind of the goal. That's what I'm looking for. So UB, you've got some support here for sure, but like I said, I'm going to leave you with, I'm waiting for the high 125s like Steve, because that's where you got the daily support. On gold, you're kind of at that key daily support level, but I don't really trust it with what I'm seeing on the dollar right now, because we're at 108.25. So look, right now, I'm just going to stay patient, wait. I will post updates in the members area, you guys, and I'll be back tomorrow streaming, hopefully, unless I really don't feel good with COVID, but I aim to be here every day. And send me some well wishes so I can feel better and get rid of this. And yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for your likes and all that good stuff. And we'll be back tomorrow, right? Steve, I'll see you in the members area, and we'll keep an eye on stuff together, okay? Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, Steve.